A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Mary Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, I thought today might be really interesting if we just talk about a few personalities with the remedies. So looking at the mind rubrics of a few remedies, that really helps us decipher the difference between one remedy and another. Now, with first aid prescribing, we don't often talk about the personalities of the remedies, but it is something that homeopaths use very much in their prescribing methodology. And of course, it's worth reminding you at this stage that homeopaths use many, many different prescribing methods in order to find the right remedy for you right now. So let's just go through a few of the main polycrest remedies and talk about their personalities, their mindsets, if you like, because knowing a little bit about this will definitely help you find the right remedy, even for your acute prescribing. So let's just imagine a few different personalities. Let's start with Arsenicum. Now, I will explain my sister to you, and then you'll understand what an Arsenicum person is. My sister is most unlike me. She's always very smart. She's always well dressed. She's very petite. We're actually the same size. It's just obviously she's a lot narrower than I am. She always she spends her money on the very finest clothes. She has her shoes lined on a shelf in the loo, and they're all obviously, she's got very petite feet, and she has 3 pairs of shoes in 3 different colors, and then she'll have the scarves on a peg above matching, and it'll have to be all placed in the right area. So very different than my shoe rack, I can say. She loves burning candles, but the candles have to burn at the same time. So, if she's got 2 candles and one's burnt out more than the rest, she'll cut the candle down or move that to a different area so you can't see both candles at different levels. The books on the shelves have to be colour coordinated or size coordinated, or definitely coordinated in some way or other. She's just very precise. She is very health orientated with the food that she eats. So for her, lunch will be a big bowl of spinach, and if that was me, I would definitely need to add some different things into it. I just would need some flavor, some eggs and some cheese and some other bits, but she would quite happily sit and eat a whole Tupperware box of spinach for her lunch. So she's very health orientated, she's very body orientated, she's absolutely meticulous in the way that she runs her house. It's spotless. She would always hoover before sitting down. Also a great worrier. Now, Arsenicum people have a lot of anxieties, and the anxiety is always worse at night. So if anybody wakes up between 12 and 2 at night and is very anxious mind, you would always consider Arsenicum, because everything's worse at night. If you have a patient that rings you in the middle of the night, you also think Arsenicum, because they're going to panic at that stage. There's nobody there to help them, and that is a real great panic for this worrying, high anxiety person. Now they really are achievers. They're very intense energy, high energy, and they are real achievers. So they will get a lot done. You know, they really pride themselves in working hard and achieving lots. So let's go from Arsenicum then to Nux vomica, because Nux vomica is also very hard working. So your Nux vomica person will work and work and work. They work extremely hard, but they'll also play hard. So they'll also party. They might drink and smoke. They're not so worried about eating spinach for lunch. They are very high energy, high impulse people. They get a lot done because they are able to make good decisions and big decisions without worrying about it. But that's not to say they're not worriers too. They're certainly irritated by people sometimes. They don't stand for any nonsense. They need everything sorted. Okay, just you go and sort that. Or why haven't you sorted that? They might be quite sharp with you. Actually, Arsenicum might be quite sharp with you as well, because they lack the finesse, if you like. Perhaps it's just this needing to have everything in order so that you're able to achieve so much. So your Nux vomica person is much less likely to have a tidy house or a tidy office. There's a lot more going on in there, and that's not going to be their particular forte. But they are going to have that intensity of getting the most out of every aspect of their life. So let's go from Nux vomica to Lycopodium. Lycopodium is very common personality, and it has got that anxiety and that worry. They are achievers, but they hate being at the top of the chain. So they're usually second or third in command. They don't mind then handing out the rules, and they get very upset if people haven't done things the right way. So they will be always telling you, you know, no, you've got to do that way. So they can be really bossy. Now, Lycopodium are always worse before eating, before needing to eat. So they might wake up really grumpy in the morning, and then you give them some breakfast and they're much nicer. They're able to talk to you once they've eaten. Lycopodium have a lot of digestion issues, so we're likely to see their symptoms come out around digestion. So they'll have other symptoms as well. It's a huge remedy for a lot of things. But if there are food issues, digestion issues, perhaps even anger around food issues, then we might think Lycopodium. Lycopodium has got a lot of wind and gas going on, a lot of grumbly tummies, a lot of pain in the abdominal area. So digestion can be a problem. So we might also see a lot of bowel problems there as well. So Lycopodium people, as I say, can get really bossy if things aren't being done right. So their interactions with other people, that is. Another person that gets really irritable is a Sepia. And they get really irritable with family around them. So it goes from being totally irritable to absolute indifference to family. I don't want to know, go away, I need space. I am just up to here with everything. So a sepia person works really hard and diligently at what they are doing, and they are have to do, all of the jobs, but they're always on the go until it's too much, and until family's too much, and they break down, and they become very, very tearful when they're telling you what's happening. So with sepia, a lot of gynecological problems, a lot of hormonal issues, and quite often we go through a sepia stage when we're going through menopause or pregnancy. A lot of people will be going through a sepia stage. So let's have a think about silica. Silica is a lovely remedy and quite similar to arsenicum, but not to the degree of arsenicum. So silica, if you like, think of silica as the backbone to everybody. So how strong are they in mind, spirit, and physical body? Silica are usually quite petite people that need more strength, and they can be very anxious, and they can be very intelligent. They haven't got they don't need everything quite the same order as arsenicum. So you might be thinking, okay, this person might be arsenicum, but they're not that tidy. Then you might be thinking of silica. So silica's a lovely remedy, and just that intelligence, hardworking, but needs grit, needs a little bit more backbone, needs something to help them survive this next stage. So that's quite often what we're thinking with silica. So anybody that has been slow to develop or growing, or is having growing pains with children, so it suits all sorts of male, female, children, adults. It's a very, very large remedy, and it's petite, it's thin, and it's quick and sharp. Calcarea carbonica, on the other hand, is much less sharp. It's more rounded. It is a worrier. It can be quite podgy. It can be a larger person. It can be a blonde, fair-skinned person, a really homely person, somebody where home and family is the most important thing. Calcium carbonica really worry about what everybody's doing in the family. They need everybody to be happy together or occupied together. So your carbonica person is, of course, the Calcarea carbonica comes from the inside of an oyster shell, which is protected, totally protected, and this person does want that protection. They need that outer shell, if you like. Inside, they can be hurt very easily. They can be very independent, and as children, they enjoy working on their own. They can play on their own. They're quite able to play in the room, and they'll be occupied for quite a while. They're not great adventurers. They're quite happy with the space around them, and they're not really interested in the news of the world so much as actually what's happening with Freddie, because he's having trouble at school. That's much more important. So very much focused on the space and family and people around them. Let's have a look at Pulsatilla now, because we quite often come across Pulsatilla with first aid remedies, because Pulsatilla is easily led to tears. Pulsatilla can be a quite manipulating remedy, so they might have the personality that They know how to get what they want. They know how to talk to you. They know what to say. They know how to manipulate you so that they get what they want. They do love to be touched. They're always better for consolation. They love being with people and they love that physical contact. If they're feeling not so good, they will be whingy and whiny and clingy. They are the first people to get homesick when they're away from home, and they need a remedy that's really going to help them be able to cope without the family for a little while. So Pulsatilla is one that, for instance, that my daughter would always have in her first aid kit if she was traveling around the world, because if anything happens that knocks her off, she'll want to phone home, and sometimes it's not possible where she is. So, she needs that Pulsatilla just to give her the comfort that, you think of a nice woolly blanket around you. You need that, and you think of home, then you might well need a Pulsatilla remedy just to help you through. So you can see that by knowing the personality of remedies, you can use the remedies just to give people a boost when they need a boost. So when they're away from home and they're feeling down, when they are struggling because work is too intense and too difficult, or they can't sleep at night because they've got other anxieties, you can see that this personality remedy is really going to help in this instance, and it's really going to encourage and fortify you when you can have this remedy just to help strengthen you right when you need it. So let's do a couple more of these. Sulfur is a great polycrest remedy, and Sulfur is the personality who is very independent, very intelligent, knows what they want to achieve and how they're going to achieve it. They might be a little bit lazy, and they might be a little bit condescending to other people that have different ideas, but they will sit and talk through their ideas forever with you, and they love discussions, and they love interactions, and they love to tell you how it should be, and they always have the answer that would make everything much better. Now, Sulfur quite often think that they are really beautifully dressed when they're not at all coordinated. So totally opposite to Arsenicum, in that, they think they're in riches when they're in rags. So they love the old comfy cardigans, and they love mixing the colors and wearing just anything, because for them that all they've got to please is themselves. They haven't got to look good for the rest of the world. If they've just got to look good for them so that they feel good, and that's what they need. But Sulfur and Arsenicum have a lot in common with the physical symptoms, in that quite often things are burning. So in some ways, they're very similar, and you have to choose between the two. And that's where then you can say, well, this person is definitely a Sulfur person, and this person is definitely an Arsenicum person. So you would decide on the remedy, even though the symptoms both show the intense burning of the esophagus, for instance, with acid reflux is a burning feeling. And so to decide between these two remedies, you would decide, okay, what is their personality like? Are they more Sulfur minded, or are they more Arsenicum minded? Because those personalities are so different. So that's really, really useful for you to know in order to decide which remedy might be more appropriate at the time. So I hope this information is useful to you. It's useful just to get to know the mind rubrics and the personalities of the remedies so that you can differentiate when you're going to choose a remedy. So there are lots of first aid remedies that don't have big personalities, and that we don't get to know the personalities very well. So things like Cali B that we use for colds and coughs doesn't have a huge personality remedy. Merc Viv or Merc Sol, they're the same remedies, but again, used a lot for ear infections and throat infections and infections in general. Only has a small personality picture. So, and then there are the polycrest remedies that you see a lot because they've been used a lot and they have a huge physical symptom picture in every aspect. And so again, it's easier to get to know those personality attributes of those remedies. So we'll be talking quite a bit more about the different remedies, about when we might notice the personality and when we might use this as differentiating information. I hope you found that really useful today and you've been able to take some points that will help you remember a little bit more about some of these polycrest personalities. Next week, I am going to be joined by two of our homeopaths, and we are going to be talking about homeopathy and Facebook groups and how lovely it is to be able to discuss things with a community. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.